Hi everybody, welcome to Old Guy's Garage.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again. This episode we're going to be covering up some of the frame cleanup that I've been doing on the 1972 Olds Cutlass. There's some before and after pictures, there's also some video of the results. But anyhow, I really wanted to get under there as I'm working my way forward to the front and just clean up the frame. I really like working under a clean vehicle. This one here, does have some road grime, some oil, grease, all the typical stuff, as well as some undercoating. And this car was a daily driver for a little bit of time, not the whole time, because I know, as my dad said, this was my dad's car. He did have other vehicles at the time too that he had as his dailies. So stay tuned. Upcoming, we're going to go over the supplies, the process, and some finished videos as well as pictures. So it's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. There are definitely some spots that I'm going to go back in and touch up and possibly even rework. So you're just kind of learning as we go along here. Okay, so this is just a sampling of some of the tools I've been using to help me clean the framework. I love working underneath a clean car. This one definitely has some road grime, some undercoating underneath it that I like to clean up. Scraper works in handy. This has been getting the majority of the undercoating off of the frame. From there, I like to use these brushes, then go to this air tool. This will knock the rest of it off and get into the nooks and crannies. Here's another brush that works great, especially for knocking any kind of loose rust. Don't forget gloves, safety goggles, Ziploc bags to put different bolts, particularly for the brackets for the gas lines and fuel lines, all that stuff. This headlight works fantastic. And of course the POR system that I've been using to keep everything consistent. And good old gum out engine parts degreaser, that helps also get some of the dirt and grime and off the frame. So Scotch-Brite pads as well. Can't forget about those guys. And this is a great shot as we start to talk about the process that I used here. This is a great shot of the one side of the frame. You see undercoating, you see road grime, you see some rust. We're going to tackle this and we're going to get it all cleaned up. And here's a picture after I got done with the scraping. I was just scraping as much of the undercoating off the frame as much as possible. And after that, I used the air tool with the wire brush on it, wire brush attachment, and continued working and cleaning off, knocking out what residue was left in the nooks and crannies. It also polished the metal to some degree. So, and then then from there, using the wire brushes, using Scotch-Brite pads, I'm even used some 220 grit sandpaper as well. And before I applied the POR 15, I did prime the surface as well as using acetone in a degreaser to get as much any other residual gunk, whatever it might be, off of the frame before paint. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of that stage. And this is a great picture of the frame's progress with the wire brushes and the 220. You can see about halfway. I've worked it with the wire brush, the air tool, and as well as some 220 grit, and then the last third of it there, I still need to work. It still looks a little rough. This is an after picture. I must have put 2 or 3 coats of paint on here, so it looks really good. What a world of difference to where we started. So just took my time, let it dry, followed the instructions, and moved on to the other side. And I also forgot to mention, as I was working on the frame, I had the car up on blocks. I did have 6 under the rear tires and 6 blocks under each front tire, which let me move around and do what I needed to do underneath the vehicle comfortably. And here's some before and after pictures. This is a brake line with the frame and the bracket. This was before, and this is after. And the next is also the brake line in the rear. This is going over the rear cross member. And I did manage to get this brake line up and over without having to undo the body bolts or any of that. So I did do some bending tricks, but it did work its way up and over pretty nicely for me, which I was greatly surprised. And as far as the brackets and bolts go, I did get a bracket and bolt kit. However, I didn't like how the brackets were working on the fuel lines as well as the brake lines, so I just polished the stock ones and then I put new bolts through them. But I kept the old ones, still have the old bolts, but new bolts, old brackets just polished up. And this is the fuel line and evap line. I did clean the brackets just like the other side, and as far as these lines go, I did hit them with a lot of steel wool, the wire wheel, just to clean all the grime and undercoating off of them. Looks like I got to get a little paint off of those as well. And another before and after picture. This is a wider expanded picture of the frame where the brake line was installed, the new brake line. Video of the new gas tank installed, painted the straps black, and also put POR on the frame. Added the sway bar, all that fun stuff. Kept the Gabriel hijackers, they're still working great. So here's more of the frame progress. This is the driver's side. Have that painted up and the new brake line installed all the way up here to the front. Painted cross member. We'll go back around to the rear. Painted frame, control arm, and then back there. And at the side of the frame now, underneath the driver's side of the passenger side of the car. Got the fuel line and the evap line and the frame painted and cleaned up. Painted cross member and new connection there and a new line up to the fuel pump. And we're reaching the end of this video. Thanks again for stopping by. Really appreciate it. If you know of anybody this video might be of help, please share it with them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. We're all generating ideas, and we all got different unique perspectives on restoring our cars, keeping these time machines and race cars, whatever you might have, running. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon. And this is what I've been working on the past few days. We're getting ready here to drop the springs out of the front end here. Took out the brakes. So we're going to be rebuilding everything under here. Getting it all refinished. And we're going to go from there. So stay tuned. This is going to be a great video series.